There's this thing about me that I would always hear from when I was a kid that, well, he'd always just would prefer to play by himself. Like Vic liked playing with his toys and he would prefer being in his own world. And yeah, you could take it to mean like imaginative or creative or whatever, but the emphasis came at the very end of it was like whenever someone else would want to play or join in or something like that, it had to be his way or nothing. Whoever was getting involved was either going to face his like fury if like you decided to join in when I didn't want it, or like in a way I didn't want it. And so it became a story that very fast as I got older, went from like, I guess that's cute, that's charming, to just like pretty pathetic. And I guess you can also add on to that too as a kid. um, I think the thing that about me that was always really emphasized too was Vic, you're a very smart kid. You're very intelligent. You do your homework. You read really fast. You're just good at like all that like typical whatever book smart type of stuff. I guess I don't even mean to say all these things as like a good thing or a bad thing necessarily. They just are. This is how it happened. There's no pointing of the fingers here. I think this is just a video to explain like my like background or whatever and how it's affected my life and the people around me. And it's hopefully not only a way to just gather my own thoughts and keep it for my own records and stuff, but just hopefully to help things click for someone else maybe out there. So you have a kid who's very spoiled, who like insists on like you're gonna have it your way, or I'm gonna have it my way rather is the better way to word it, right? Add on to that the whole like, well, good job, you get constantly praised for being smart. Being smart is your best attribute, and again, not a bad thing. And especially as like a first generation kid, I think it's like it's completely understandable to emphasize that. You come here for a better opportunity, and everyone just it's just kind of like the mantra, right? Like how it goes, where it's like you come here, you go learn. Even my own parents as a kid, it was like, well, whatever you want to do, like go ahead and go for it, but you go make sure you get like educated, college educated, and this and that. And it's funny even now, like thinking about it, it's like, well, I did do that, but I never saw it to completion. Technically, I could have just kept going, but even that, was too much for Mr. Stubborn, Mr. Spoiled. And so now I'm 31 years old. I'm someone that I think subconsciously has become like just used to being someone that loves to begin things, like a fresh start always feels great, like a new promises always feel great, but not someone who's like happy with actually like seeing things to completion. Someone that like very quickly will bounce from like commitment, all because it's like I believe that I know best. And sometimes, yes, it does come from like being arrogant and like, being spoiled. And sometimes it comes from just like some type of like fear, where it's like I'm so good at researching and looking up things and learning that like this thing that I looked up, no matter how much of an expert or whatever I'm not at, like it has to work, or like I'll start picking and choosing things from like specific methods or teachings, or it's like only this part applies, only this. And now you have like this weird Frankenstein that is like completely dancing around the main point, which is the whole point is to commit to something, and you're like achieving nothing. It's like I open a bunch of doors and never really fully enter any of them. And so like I guess this like the spoiled kid in me, the one has is kind of like, yeah, like I'm not, 6 or 7 years old, but it's still something that like takes a front seat in terms of personality for me. Like, I mean, I can tell you that I'm pretty like almost ashamed, I guess, to talk about this, but it's also, I think, like important to talk about because I think when it comes to stuff that you're working through, when it comes to things about yourself that you're trying to overcome, ignoring it is definitely like the best, like the or sorry, the worst possible thing you can do. Um, and so even when it gets like genuinely difficult, you know, some people have like here's how I see it. Like some people have genuine like issues to work through. People got like trauma and like really like tough like things that they overcame. And so to sit here and like decide to say out loud, like, well, I'm just spoiled, like hear me out, like here's why this happened. It's just because I'm like I don't want to do what I'm told. It's like just like it's awkward to talk about in that sense, I suppose. Like as once you enter adulthood, it's like all about like you're a man, and so to confront your the worst aspects of yourself, it sucks. It really does. Now, granted, of course, I'm not. I am also not eight, so like to wallow in like your own like pity and just be sad and stuff. Like, okay, well, that for sure is like what a child does, like that. I'm not going to do that. But this part of me, like the thing that I'm trying to overcome, the spoiled brat, the spoiled child, has had his hands in everything, and it's like here's some examples, I guess, of like how I can like warn you of like how this can basically like make you get in your own way and like just slowly destroy aspects of your life. Um, and maybe a little bit of an exaggeration. I don't know. I'm just trying to lay it in thick because I do think it is dangerous. This way of thinking, like these bad habits or whatever, like they are pretty destructive for sure. But like it's applied to everything from like, okay, you get relationships, friendships. I'm married. If like, even like the smaller, like just like people you meet at the store type of relationships. It's like okay, like the basic people you meet, like it's great for friendship, but you just it's becomes people pleasing, or you like are friends with the whole world and everyone else because you know that you can keep them at arm's length. They don't really have to know, and it could mean that you get, I don't know, something out of it maybe even at that point. And but like closer relationships and stuff like that, it's like when you become so accustomed, I guess, to being in your own world, you just get so used to it. When you're comfortable, like you start to like rationalize staying there, if that makes sense. It's like that you're unhappy, if by yourself, like comfortable, it, like you feel like the worst version of yourself when you are that. And at the same time, it's like you're also uncomfortable when you try to change. It's like there's no happy medium. But I've tasted enough change, I've changed enough about myself that I know when I have felt in my best. And I know when I've like what actual genuine progress feels like when it comes to like my own life and what I get up to. Staying in that like no one come into my world, like arm's length, spoiled child. It might seem like it's confidence, it's like it's just very loud, very like like I know this works, I know what I'm doing. And then it'll start to kind of slowly deplete to like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And then to just like, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's all dodging some type of accountability, but it becomes an exhausting way to live because it means you'll end up at square one every time. Like it means you refuse to accept that there's other people out there smarter than you at specific things. It means that you refuse to allow anyone to help you out, which is like nonsense. There's as much as you might hear like the whole hustler, like I did it all on my own thing. It's never true. Like it's absolutely never true. Like there's no one that does anything alone. And if you do, like, I mean, historically or whatever, like you wind up crazy. You wind up like really shooting yourself in the foot for other areas of your life if you try to do everything alone. But this spoiled child thing, like, despite how many people have like constantly told me like you're a great guy, you're really capable, you're hardworking, you're really talented, like, but we're just, I guess, dealing with this brat. We're just dealing with the spoiled child because here it is again, and he shows up like clockwork. This thing that I'm trying to overcome, the spoiled child. And so it's like, at some point, one of two things is either going to happen. It's either going to happen where like I end up either alone or in a circle, like a system or whatever that like is at that vibration, like that low vibration of like, well, he is also a spoiled child and or matching whatever low vibe qualities we have, or accept the fact that like uh, I guess God like just is just really throwing me a bone here and like really like has just blessed me with like everything I need to overcome it and get past it. And I mean, like, I'll give you another example before I guess, talk more about this, like how it's affected my life. It's like, even when it comes to like the thing that I'm passionate about, like I'm really love songwriting, and that's the thing that I hope to like get to one day. And even that is like my inspiration is Damon Albarn from the Gorillaz, who is like notoriously like so good at collaboration. You know, he's visited so many countries and worked with so many musicians, and I'm so like headstrong about my own art, you know, like it having to, like I insist on wearing all these hats and mastering nothing, and no one else can get involved in the process most of the time, especially if I'm in a certain mood. So it's like my own, like the person I look up to, you know, like I can't even measure up to how he lives his life, for my own like passion, you know, like it even interferes with that. Like I've tried collaborating with people, and I either think it's going to go bad because it has in the past, or it's like, no, keep out, you know, even when it's in my own benefit. Like I'm very, like, I guess, painfully aware of like the bridges that I have burned, you know. But people usually say like, you know, it's up to you to like make sure that you're the best version of yourself. And a really common thing that I think happens is that you tend to think in terms of like very external things. You know, it's like if I'm gonna make progress, like I need to think about like work or like getting really in shape, or like, you know, marrying like a supermodel or whatever. You know, like anything that doesn't involve what makes us really uncomfortable, which is essentially conquering like the demons in our mind and like really starting to make progress by changing our mindset. And I think my warning with the whole like dealing with a inner spoiled child is that like you'll always find ways to justify like not committing to one direction and like kind of dancing around things. So, you know, like there's no point in spreading your energy. Like you're just like imagine basically like your energy, your concentration, like imagine it like flowing water. Like if you were to just pick one direction and really work at it and commit, you become almost like those pressure tools that can cut stone. But as soon as you start like trying different directions and different lifestyles, different sides of the road, it's like this pressure and the energy and the concentration just releases and disperses, and now you just got like a crappy water hose, you know, instead of a tool that can force stone to be cut. And I think for me, like instead of just trying to do that, like it'd always be like constant desperation for like what's the next quick fix, what's the next solution, like just running around like as if my head was cut off. But you know, at the same time, it's like don't let anyone get involved, or else it's like, you know, like they don't know best. Like I read these 17 sources, and like I know what's going on now, and now you can't lead anyone. Now you can't comfort anyone. Now you can't make decisions as a man should be making them. You slowly start to like, I think on a subconscious level, like permanently almost damage your, not permanently, but you start to just like have this, like you associate yourself with someone who does all these things. You know, this person that can't commit because of this person that can't finish things because of this person that like always goes back to what's comfortable, which those are the nastiest ones, is the comforts of our own mindset. Those are the ones that are ingrained, that like that's where the real progress lies, is in doing what you don't want to do. Because what's more enticing, you know, is like the stuff that's fun, like the fun ideas, the using your creativity, the using your skills to research or whatever, you know, like the chasing of excitement versus obedience versus discipline. It's like to the point sometimes where I'm almost like seeing it happen in real time, and like it's still like, you know, you I grit my teeth trying to deal with it, like in the sense of like just communicate, you know, just ask, why are you being like this, still like this spoiled disgusting little kid about it. But again, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, just sit here and cry about it? It's like, well, okay, no, that's pathetic. I'm like, in order to fix this, like, I'm going to start like just basically doing everything I don't like to do, everything that I don't want to do, the stuff that's like I just don't want to deal with it. It's uncomfortable, it's nasty, it's whatever, like I just like mentally I know I don't want to do it, and just start there, just straight out, just start there and have a good attitude about it, and just commit to a single direction. You either commit to becoming the best version of myself or burn up, and don't do that. Just don't bother. But it seems pretty clear to me that the end of that road is not a particularly pretty place. But someone who doesn't want to fix themselves, someone who doesn't want to be the best version of themselves, like if you don't have command over your own mindset and over your own life, you shouldn't be surprised at the results that you get with that lack of like discipline. Again, not to sound like I guess a bummer or whatever in this video. I just wanted to be very clear and I guess blunt about what the worst aspect of my personality is, and just how much of like I guess like a chokehold it has on me. Like it's something that causes me to leak confidence like a balloon, and it's something that like continues to like put me back into square one when it comes to making progress, and just something that like it has to die. Like that part of me like is basically like the first step into really truly like being the person that I want to be. And it's almost like anything else um, that I will try, and everything that I have tried so far has always had like just a flavor of that person, a flavor of that spoiled child. And it's like this is the thing that is getting in my own way here. But it was real, I think, good to like sit down in front of a camera and like just try to be like honest or straightforward, I guess, about it. I do my best to not like sugarcoat things, because this has been like, again, it's like it's embarrassing to talk about. It's shameful in a sense, but like it's important to not also stay there. Like it's important to be able to, I think, like look at these parts of yourself like neutrally, like as if you were like in the third person. But yeah, I think it was useful to just talk about this out loud, and I talk about it and stuff more with my circle. Hopefully, encourages that. More of like, I mean, not literally about this, because I'm, this is this is an exhausting part of my personality. So, not necessarily talk about this in that sense, but just like, I guess, be able to like identify it and like just cinch it or whatever, like just extinguish it in the moment, like so it doesn't take over and it doesn't become like this whole like back to square one type of deal. And maybe there's someone else out there who's like also in like a similar or the same situation and they don't want to talk about it, and I completely understand why, because it's, again, it's just, it's exhausting, it's shameful in a sense, it's embarrassing, and I'm sure it's responsible for like a lot of like just things not going your way in your life. Like these are all things that I think, especially in our society, are not encouraged to talk about. Like we get encouraged to post all of our great moments and all like the fun stuff and the best stuff. And I think that's what the spoiled child does to you, like it wants to chase all the fun, best stuff, even though it's always thinking about like, like what's the shortcut, what's the quick fix? Like this worked for homework, like getting to the solution the fastest. Like what's the quick thing that, I feel the tug of it, and I know it's not right, but then you still feel that tug, and it causes friction, in your own thinking. And it really isn't about that. And it's about like overcoming this and fixing your mindset, like, and making progress, and just learning to commit and pick one direction, one side of the road, being just a fucking man, just being a man about it, and like not infecting other people with your problems. Get it under control, like. But I guess that's just the video for today. Um, I'll tell you right now, like I'm committing to doing more of what I don't want to do with good energy, with a passion, just for the sake of saying it out loud. Of course, only results will speak for themselves, but I guess I'll just update you on like what the plan is to fix it, because I don't like it, if that makes sense. Otherwise, thank you for watching if you did watch up to this point, and I'll see you guys in another video.